Okay, there's lots of accounts that earn a small amount of interest. The bank is saying, thank you for giving us your money and keeping it here. We're going to give you just a little bit, of money for doing that. That's kind of the bottom line. All right, so as we continue here to read this little story here, the fixed interest rate. Okay, so the interest rate. Now, obviously, we talked about interest. The rate is basically a percentage of the money involved, and it's fixed here in this case. That means this percentage doesn't change over the term, and it's paid on the original investment, and it's going to be paid at the end of each year until Sarah's 10th birthday. So they're going to give this to the bond here, to these grandparents that are saving it for Sarah here. They're going to give them 6% of the money that they put in. Okay? Ooh. All right. So the principal is another thing here, okay? Whoops, how much money was earned on the principal? The principal is the original amount of money that's invested or loaned. So when we talk about these terms, they're all here on this very first page, page 6, and you need to know what these terms are when we talk about them. Okay, the principal is the original amount of money that is either invested or that's loaned to you. That's the principal. Okay, so how much interest was earned on the principal by the end of the first year? If we take a look at this, they talk about, they have a little chart here, and they talk about simple interest. We talked about that already as well. It is the amount of interest earned on the investment or on the loan based on the principal. So it's a percentage of the principal. And here we're going to pop back to the notes here, and I'm going to write something down here. So the principal is $500. The interest is 6%. Okay? And the term is 10 years. This is 6% per year, and this is years, so that's good. And this is dollars, right? We're talking about units. So the interest paid on the first year, because this is 6% per year, we have $500, and we multiply it by 6%. Now, your calculator may be fancy schmancy, and you know how to use it, and you have a little percent button and everything. But for those of us, I don't like using percent buttons because I never know what they're doing, really. So it's always best to change that percent into a decimal, like this. Okay? So if we go down here, I'm going to get the calculator up here. Okay? And it's going to turn it on. We're going to go 500 times the decimal form of 6%, which is going to be 30. 6% of 500 is 30 bucks. So we have $30 is going to be paid the first year. So at the end of the first year, just for having that $500 in this CSB, the government's going to say, okay, here's 30 bucks for letting us have your money for a year. Okay? And so this is the question, how much money is made on the year? The whole term is 10 years. So this is the neat thing about simple interest. This yearly amount just gets multiplied by 10. Like it's the same amount every year. So for simple interest, question?
Well, would it be like, so say,
So the question was, aren't you taking 6% of the now 500 plus 30? And the answer is that is compound interest, which we'll talk about later. So simple interest is on the principal alone. Okay? Just the principal. But yes, you're absolutely right. There is another type of interest that we will be studying later, that's the compound. So awesome, you're ahead of the game. So this one's really easy. Now, there's a formula I want to show you. Now, everybody likes formulas, right? Who likes formulas here? Put up your hand. Good. Hands up going all over the stadium. Okay, awesome. Sorry, classroom. It's not a stadium. Anyways, the formula here is A. Now, what's A? A is actually, let's put this over here. A is future value. A is future value of your investment or whatever, the future amount of money that you end up having to pay for the whole loan or whatever. So in this case, it's the future value of the investment. And how you get that is you say, okay, I have the principal. That's the money that I put in at the beginning. And I'm going to add the total amount of money that I get from the interest, which is the principal amount times the annual interest, which actually they call that R, don't they? In the books. Okay, so my bad on the first example. It's not I, it's R. I is coming later, and I should have known that. It's something different. So principal times the rate of interest times the time. So let's just get this right. This is the rate of interest per year. P times R times T, and T is the term. Yep.
In the book, they just explain guarantees and more complex. They say like I.
Excellent question. Why are there two P's? Okay, aren't we? Doesn't that mean we're adding the principal twice? That's kind of your question. Okay, good question. Here's the thing. I have my original $500, and this part over here, okay, is actually 500 times this decimal form of the percent times how many times you're adding that up. So really, we're not adding two 500s. I'm adding a 500 plus just the interest that we're making over the 10 years. Okay? Very good question, though, because it looks like you're adding 500 twice. Why are we doubling our money? Well, we're not. This actually turns out to be quite a bit of a smaller number because this little decimal. Okay? But great question. So this is 500 plus, and we said that 500 times 0.06 was 30 times 10 is 300. Wow. So you put 500 bucks in over 10 years, and you actually get, I don't know why I wrote that twice, you actually get 800 bucks. Okay? Another way you could write this is A equals, and you could just have the principal in one spot, and then, because if we divide this P out, it's going to be then 1 plus R times T. So this is another way of looking at it. Both of these are are equally the same when you can use either one. But maybe you like this better. I don't know. Okay, the textbook also talks about the maturity of the investment, and that is basically that's the end date of the investment. So the end of the term, end date of the term. Okay, so at maturity, it will be worth 800 bucks right here. Okay, is that easy?
That was easy.
Good. Glad you think so. Why are you shaking your heads? You don't think you get it? Yeah. Okay, so yeah, you don't get it, or yeah, you think you get it? What does that yeah mean? A little bit of both. You have half of it, but half not there.
Can we try?
Oh, can we? That's an excellent idea. Let's try an actual question here. Let's try another question. Okay, so let's look at example 1 in the textbook here. Here we go. Let's get to another question. Example 1 in the textbook says, oh, here we go. It says, Marty invested 2,500 bucks, guaranteed investment certificate, that's a GIC, at 2.5% simple interest, paid annually with a term of 10 years. Here's where they talk about future value, right? And here's where they actually come up with the equation for you. So, what is our A value? It's the future value, so that's what we're going to find. What is the P? The principal. What is it in this question? 2,500 bucks right there. That is the principal. Okay? So we have, you said, The A is the future value, and that's going to be what our formula is going to give us. The P is $2,500. Awesome. Plus, we want to find out how much total interest we're going to make off this. And that simple interest formula is the decimal form of the annual percent, 2.5%, times 10 years times our principal. So this is going to be 2,500 times 0.025 times 10. And that's going to be the future value. Now, the A, okay, so I kind of skipped A here. We went to B. This is B right here, the future value. This is B. So let's do this. What is the A? It is, okay, this equals 3125, $3,125. That's what the future value is for question B here of this investment. Now, I'm not sure why I skipped A, but A, how much interest alone will accumulate over the whole term, well, that's just the P times R times T. And so that's this part right here, the interest. And that is $625. Okay? So the $625 is the total amount of interest, and the total value is the principal plus all of the interest. Okay, so C, algebraic expression, they're basically asking you to put this all together in an algebraic expression, which is really easy. It's the formula that I gave you. So A equals P plus PRT. Yeah. Don't do that?
Don't do that. No.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't just like yeah.
Yeah.
I'd rather use
Okay.
the button than say.
You'd rather me hit the button?
That was easy.
Okay, that was easy. That was easy.
Where did you get that?
Okay, so how do you feel about that?
One more time for the Rachel. Rachel!
Wow. You guys are a pretty special group there. Pretty special group of grade 12s.
Great close!
We're slowly dying. Stop forehead.
Okay.
So freaky.
How about we get back to the math lesson? Yes, please.
We don't want to!
We don't want
Okay. We need to talk about rate of return, okay?
What if I grab your textbook and chuck it up
All
the
right.
screen?
No one cares. No one cares. Okay?
You want to?
Can we go back to math now? Rate of return. Okay. Okay, girls. Rate of return. Okay, if we're talking about financial topic, when someone says the rate of return of an investment, okay, it's the ratio of money earned or the money lost of an investment relative to the amount of money invested. So it's the amount of money that you make on interest if you put in a GIC, how much interest you get compared to the money that you put in, usually expressed as a decimal or a percent. So you usually hear like, 6% rate of return. Okay, that's what the grandpa and grandma would have gotten on their Canada Savings Bond. Okay, so they got 6% more than they put in. So yeah, if we're talking about simple interest, the rate of return is pretty much equal to the interest rate. But later we'll be talking about compound interest, and so you're actually going to make more than what the interest rate might be because it's going to compound, which we'll explain a bit later. But so actually in simple interest, it's not the rate, but it's the rate times the term. So on the first example, the grandparents put in $500. We found out that after 10 years, they made $300, right? So the ratio, the rate of return, is $300 compared to $500.